Welcome to this week's Tuesday Tips. This week, I'm going to share with you some great information that you can immediately use to help generate interest from both sellers and buyers, and that is what's going on in the new home market. This is important data, so let me jump into it right now and show you what I mean. So this chart right here, this shows sales incentives on home deliveries as a percent of revenue. So in a nutshell, it means what's the percent of revenue builders are giving. And if you look at this chart, it peaked out at over 16, almost 17%. And then it went down a little bit. And look at the years. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but I'll tell you what it is. That's Q09 and 010. And what was that? That was post-housing crisis. So what happened is the housing crisis hits. Builders need to stay afloat. They need to generate revenue. And they need to at least generate cash flow. So they basically forego their profit so that they can at least have, even if they have a dollar profit, like a teeny little profit on their quarterly and annual statements, they increase massive incentives to induce sales. So that's what happens, right? And then if you look carefully, it slows down. And for 2010 to 2012, you can see that the incentives dropped about 12%, and then they head down over 2012 to 2013, and they normalize. And a normal market would be about 5%. Now, interestingly enough, when that dipped down, I want to share with you something. That was in November of 2012 that the seller market began. And I'll never forget, coming out of the housing crisis. I mean, I've been in this business a long time. So coming out of the housing crisis, it was normal to where you do a mortgage plan, get somebody pre-approved, they went out and they found a house and they bought the house, and the seller would pay the title, and maybe they would give some closing or price concession, but there wasn't any multiple offers. I remember this one gentleman, his name was Robert, just buying a starter home over in Little Elm, and all of a sudden I sent the approval letter, and I called him Monday saying, when I didn't get the contract, I called to follow up to see how it went. He goes, "Oh, I got outbid." I go, "What do you mean you got outbid?" And then it was like from that weekend, something triggered, and from there until the rates just went up, the last couple of years post-COVID, we had an extreme seller's market. And so you can see during that kind of market, what happens is the builders can greatly reduce the incentives, and they turn into design credits, appliances, and way less foreclosing. Then we come into COVID, and what happens? Demand is so high that the incentives almost go away entirely. They can basically kick you to the curb, right? There's 100 people in line. Hey, we'll give you a title policy. The lender will pay your title policy, something like that. There's virtually no incentives because they don't have to give them. And then what happens is right here in Q1 2023, as rates shoot back up, going in 2022 and 2023, you can see the incentives go up. And then lastly, sorry for the dizziness of turning the screen on and off, you can see they're at 13% today. So how do you use this data? Let me tell you how I would use it and how I am using it. Number one, those incentives won't last. That's important to understand. And that data shows that. The incentives that builders give are directly tied to demand. And on top of that, that data is also similar in the resale market. Now notice, on a resale market, can your client, if you have a listing, can they afford to give up 18 to 20% if you price the house correctly? No, they cannot, and they won't. And so you're always going to have a different dynamic with resale versus new build. But what's happened right now with the resale market, inventory is spiked higher. Those sellers are giving up more than they normally would, and the builders are responding by increasing their incentives. So what you want to do is take this data and use this to create an email, create a text message campaign, create an outbound call campaign, and also work it into your daily script as to answer the question, why buy now? Why buy now? Why buy now is because incentives are at historical high rates. We haven't seen incentives this high since the housing crisis, and we know that as demand picks up and rates fall, which is coming, we've already seen a trend down this year, right? That as that happens, incentives go away and it actually becomes less affordable to purchase. You get a better interest rate, but you get way less incentives. And most people don't understand that. So use that to your advantage. I hope you found this helpful. If you have clients that you would like to get excited The way to do it is with a great mortgage plan. No other lender is going to build a mortgage plan. We have great rates and low fees, but I will build you a great mortgage plan that fits into their goals and gets them excited. So send me your buyers and sellers. And if we've never worked together, feel comfortable reaching out. I'd love to help you. Thanks so much and have a great day.